All right, everyone get ready because we are going deep into herbal medicine today.
Sounds exciting.
It is, and you listeners sent in so much great material for this one.
Yeah, we've got course outlines and beginner's guides, even a few slideshows.
Really feels like we've got a whole library of herbal medicine here.
Definitely a lot to unpack.
So are you ready to unlock the secrets of natural healing?
I know I am.
Maybe we'll even come up with our own herbal blends by the end of this deep dive.
That would be amazing.
You know, when I first think about herbal medicine, I just imagine a nice cup of chamomile tea.
Yeah, chamomile is great.
But looking through all this material made me realize there's so much more to it, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's a lot more than just a drink before bedtime.
Absolutely. It's more about understanding each plant and how it can help us.
Okay, that makes sense. So what kinds of things are we talking about here besides tea?
Well, there are tons of different ways to use herbs.
Oh, like what?
We've got teas, tinctures, salves, even poultices.
Wow, a lot of options.
It looks like each one gets the good stuff out of the plants in different ways.
Interesting. So tinctures and salves, those sound pretty complicated compared to a cup of tea.
Yeah, maybe a little.
What exactly are those?
Tinctures are like super strong herbal extracts.
How do you make them?
You soak the herbs in alcohol for a while, and that pulls out all the good stuff.
Ah, so that's why they're so strong.
Yeah, and they last way longer that way too.
So what about salves?
Those are for putting on your skin. You mix the herbs with oils or waxes.
Like a lotion?
Kind of. They're good for your skin or sore muscles.
That makes me want to use that jar of dried lavender I have in my pantry.
You should. It's good stuff.
All right, so there are lots of different ways to use herbs, but what are the basics of herbal medicine?
One big idea from all these sources is synergy.
Synergy.
Yeah, it's all about how the herbs work together, not just using them one at a time.
So it's like they're a team.
Right. They can be more powerful when they're combined in the right way.
So there's an art to it then.
Yeah, you have to know which herbs work well together and how to blend them.
Okay, I'm starting to understand a bit more. So you can't just pick a random herb and expect it to work.
No, there's a science to it, but there's also an art to it.
That makes a lot of sense.
Another big principle is individualization.
Meaning,
What works for one person might not work for another person.
so you have to find the right herbs for you.
Exactly.
I'm starting to see why people have been using herbal medicine for so long.
It's a really old practice.
Seems like it's about understanding your body and how it connects to nature.
Exactly. It's a holistic approach.
So it's not just about getting rid of symptoms.
No, it's about finding the root of the problem.
I like that a lot. So let's talk about some actual herbs.
Sounds good.
I was blown away by how many different plants there are and what they can do.
There are so many.
It's incredible.
It is, and you probably already have some in your kitchen.
Really?
Like peppermint, it's good for more than just flavor.
Oh, yeah, I use it in a lot of recipes.
It can help with digestion and upset stomachs.
Wow, I had no idea.
See the humble peppermint leaf?
I never would have thought about it like that.
And then you've got chamomile, which is great for calming down.
I love a cup of chamomile tea in the evenings.
It's really popular. A lot of people use it for sleep and to feel less anxious.
But then when you start looking deeper, there are all kinds of herbs I've never even heard of.
Oh, yeah, tons.
What's one of the less common ones?
Ashwagandha is one that caught my eye. It's not as well known as chamomile.
How so?
It's a powerful adaptogen, but you probably haven't heard of it.
Adaptogen? I've heard that word, but I'm not really sure what it means.
It basically means it helps your body deal with stress.
Ah, okay.
Ashwagandha specifically can lower your cortisol levels.
Cortisol, that's the stress hormone, right?
Yep, so it can help you handle the stress of modern life better.
So it's like a natural way to relax.
That's one way to put it.
Interesting.
And then there's gotu kola. It's traditionally being used to help you think better and improve memory.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
Some studies even show it could protect your brain.
So gotu kola is like brain food.
I guess you could say that.
And then what was that other one you mentioned?
Oh, cat's claw.
Cat's claw. What's that one good for?
It's a really strong anti-inflammatory.
So it reduces inflammation.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
traditionally used for the immune system and joint pain.
Interesting.
There's even some research that says it might help with cancer, but they need to do more studies on that.
This is incredible. Every herb seems to have its own superpower.
It really does make you think, what else is out there?
And it makes you appreciate nature more.
Definitely. So much potential out there.
All right, so I want to start using more herbs in my life.
That's great.
But I want to be safe. Is there anything I should watch out for?
That's a great question, and it is super important to be safe.
So it's not as simple as just using any herbs I want.
Well, a lot of herbs are safe for most people, but you have to know the right amount to use.
Okay, so dosage is important.
Yes, and you need to know about possible side effects.
So I can't just throw a bunch of herbs together.
Some herbs can mess with medications.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
And some people are allergic or sensitive to certain plants.
So I should do my research first.
Absolutely. You have to be cautious and respectful when you're using herbs.
That's good advice. Thanks.
And another key takeaway is that herbal medicine isn't one size fits all.
Right, we talked about that.
What works for one person might not work for another.
So it's not just about following recipes.
No, it's about knowing the principles and finding what works for you.
I see, so it's more personal.
Yeah, and that's what makes it so empowering.
How so?
You're not just taking a pill, you're really involved in your own healing.
I really like that idea. Wow, we covered a lot in this first part of our deep dive.
It sure did.
We went from the basics of herbal medicine all the way to these really powerful herbs.
It's amazing how much there is to learn.
But I definitely want to learn more. This is so fascinating.
Me too. We've only just scratched the surface here.
There's so much more to explore.
Yeah, we're just getting started. And there's so much you can do with herbal medicine every day, too.
Yeah, that's what I really love about it.
It is really cool.
Like, we can use what nature gives us to help ourselves.
Absolutely.
But I'm still a little lost on where to start.
And it can be overwhelming, for sure.
It is. It's like there's so much to learn.
It is like a huge library.
Right. And I don't know which book to pick up first.
You don't have to read them all at once, though.
That's true.
Just start with one thing that interests you, one herb or one way to use them.
Okay. Baby steps.
Exactly.
So what's one simple way to start using herbs every day?
One thing I thought was really interesting was the idea of an herbal first aid kit.
An herbal first aid kit.
Yeah, having herbs ready to use for common problems.
Like what kind of problems?
Little cuts, burns, upset stomach, stuff like that.
Oh, that's a really cool idea.
It is. It's like having natural remedies right there when you need them.
So what kind of herbs would go in a kit like that?
Calendula is a good one to start with.
Calendula. I think I've heard of that.
It's really good for healing cuts and scrapes and burns.
My grandma used to have a calendula salve, I think.
Yeah, it's been used for a long time. Really effective.
So calendula is good for skin stuff.
Yeah, and then lavender is another one you should definitely have.
Oh, I love lavender.
It's great. It's so versatile.
Yeah, I use lavender essential oil in my bath sometimes.
It's really calming, but it can also help with pain, and it's antiseptic.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can put it on burns or bug bites.
Wow.
I can even make tea with it for headaches or anxiety.
It's amazing how much one plant can do.
And peppermint is really good for when your stomach is upset.
Peppermint tea, yeah, I've had that before.
It helps with bloating and gas and nausea.
So those 3 herbs would be a good start for my herbal first aid kit.
Yeah, calendula, lavender, and peppermint, those would cover a lot of bases.
Okay, I can handle that. Just 3 to start with.
And then you can always add more later on as you learn more.
That's a good plan. I'm already feeling more confident.
It's really empowering to know you can take care of yourself with herbs.
It is. It's like taking control of your own health.
Exactly. And that's one of the best things about herbal medicine.
You know, talking about all these amazing herbs makes me want to try making my own blends.
It's a natural next step.
It seems like that's where you can really get creative with herbal medicine.
It definitely is.
It's like you're becoming an herbal master or something.
There's a real art to blending herbs.
So how do you even start with that?
One of the courses we have actually focuses on blending herbs for tea.
Oh, that sounds perfect.
Yeah, it talks about understanding the energetics and actions of each herb.
Energetics and actions, what are those?
Energetics is like the personality of the herb.
Okay.
Like, is it warming or cooling? Does it give you energy or calm you down?
So each herb has its own energy.
You could say that.
And what about actions?
Actions are what the herb actually does in your body.
Okay, I'm following.
So some herbs might be good for pain. Others might fight inflammation or kill germs.
So to make your own blend, you have to think about both energetics and actions.
Exactly. You want to choose herbs that work together in the right way.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. Let's say you're feeling stressed and anxious.
I feel like that a lot, actually.
You could try combining calming herbs like chamomile and lavender.
Okay, I like both of those.
And then you could add an adaptogen like ashwagandha to help your body deal with the stress.
So it's like making music with herbs,
Yeah, I like that each herb adds its own note to the blend.
and you create a harmony that works for you.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
As you learn more about different herbs, you can experiment and make your own blends.
Exactly. Find what works best for you.
I'm excited to try it. I can already picture myself with all these herbs and jars and stuff.
It can be a lot of fun, like being a scientist in your kitchen.
A healthy scientist, though.
Of course, we want to stay healthy.
Okay, so I'm ready to start experimenting with blending. But what about when I need more help?
Like when you're not sure which herbs to use.
Yeah, Or if it's safe or something.
Yeah, that's a good point. There are definitely times when you might want to talk to a professional.
So like a doctor.
Not exactly, more like an herbalist.
An herbalist.
Yeah, they're experts in herbal medicine.
So they can help you figure out what you need.
Exactly, they can create a personalized plan for you.
Okay, that makes sense.
They know all about the different herbs and how they work together.
And they can tell you how much to take and if there are any side effects.
Right, they can also tell you if there are any herbs you shouldn't use.
Like if you're taking other medications or something.
Exactly.
So having an herbalist could really help you get the most out of herbal medicine.
They can make the journey a lot smoother and safer.
That's good to know. I feel a lot better knowing that there's someone I can turn to for help.
It's always good to have support, especially when you're dealing with your health.
This has been so fascinating. I can't believe how much I've learned already.
It's been a great deep dive so far.
I'm feeling so inspired to keep learning and experimenting.
That's awesome. There's so much more to discover.
And as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to leave you with a question to think about. I'm ready for that question. Hit me with it.
Okay, so we've talked about safety and how to get help from an herbalist.
Right, those are important.
But there's one more thing I want to touch on.
What's that?
Sustainability and ethical sourcing.
Oh, right. That's important too.
It's not just about using the herbs, it's about where they come from.
Yeah, making sure we're not harming the environment.
Exactly, and a lot of the material we have talks about that.
That's good to hear.
It's not just about our own well-being, it's about the planet's well-being too.
That's true. We're all connected.
Right, so we have to make sure our herbal practices are sustainable.
So what can we do to make sure we're being sustainable?
There are a few things to look for.
Like what?
Certifications and labels that show the herbs were harvested in a good way.
Are there specific labels I should look for?
Yeah, things like fair wild or organic.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out for those.
Those labels mean the herbs were grown and harvested in a way that doesn't harm the environment.
So it's about being respectful of the whole process.
Exactly, from the plants themselves to the people who grow and harvest them.
I like that. It's a holistic approach to sustainability.
And it all comes back to that idea of interconnectedness we talked about earlier.
That's like a ripple effect. Our actions affect everything around us.
Exactly, so we have to be mindful of our choices.
So we've covered a lot today, from safety to ethical sourcing to personalized blending.
We've been through a lot of information.
But there's one last question I've been thinking about.
Okay, I'm curious.
We've talked about how herbal medicine is personalized.
Right, different things work for different people.
But is there a right way to approach it?
That's a good question, and it's something a lot of people wonder about.
It seems like there's a balance between tradition and intuition,
You're right, there's a lot of traditional knowledge about herbs.
like ancient recipes and stuff.
Exactly. People have been using herbs for centuries.
So we can learn a lot from that traditional knowledge.
Absolutely, it's a valuable foundation.
But we also have to listen to our own bodies, right?
Yes, that's where intuition comes in.
Because what works for one person might not work for another.
That's why it's important to pay attention to how you feel when you use herbs.
So it's a combination of knowledge and intuition.
Exactly. You learn the basics, but then you experiment and see what works best for you.
It's like a dance between the two.
I like that. A dance between tradition and experimentation.
This whole deep dive has been eye-opening. I feel like I have a whole new understanding of herbal medicine now.
That's great to hear. It's been a really fun deep dive for me, too.
And I'm excited to keep learning and exploring.
That's the spirit. There's always more to learn.
Well, I think it's time to wrap up this amazing journey into the world of herbal medicine.
I agree. It's been a great exploration.
Thanks to everyone for joining us on this deep dive.
We hope you learned something new and that you're inspired to try using herbs in your own life.
And as always, keep learning, keep asking questions, and keep listening to your body.
Until next time, may you be well and happy, and may nature be your guide.